Okay, in this video, we'll be talking about circles. We'll be starting conic sections. You'll actually see a video about it next week. But this is all gonna go with some important stuff that's going on with circles and radians and all that. So this is just the beginning of circles. So we are going to be talking about this equation. It's technically not a function because we don't pass the vertical line test, but it's still an equation of a circle, which is really important and used a lot in a lot of different applications. Okay, so I'm going to start off by talking about circle standard form. This may look familiar to you. It looks a whole lot like vertex form for a parabola. We use a lot of the same variables as that equation as well, and they all kind of relate to each other, and it's going to pop up in a few more different applications you'll see later on. So it's x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. That is your standard form. I would write that down because we're going to be using that. The center is hk. So again, similar to vertex form for a parabola. Your radius is r. Notice it's r squared in the equation. You have to take the square root of it to actually get your r. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to graph these. It's really, really easy. So you want to find the center. So I have an example here. X minus 1 squared plus y plus 2 squared equals 9. So what you're going to do with this one is the center is going to start at 1, negative 2. So let's graph that. 1, negative 2 would be here. Our radius is going to be 3. So remember, we have to take the square root of it. So to graph that from your center, you go 3 in either direction, left, right, up, and down. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then we just draw to the best of our ability. It's not about being artistic, just drawing the circle the best that you can from there. So that's graphing circles in standard form. Okay, we also have another form. It's called expanded form. So I'm just going to quickly erase this out so we can see what expanded form looks like. So I'm going to turn the standard form into expanded form. So the way you do that is you multiply. Okay, so let's start off with x minus 1 squared. If we multiply that out, remember that's x minus 1 times x minus 1. That's going to be x squared minus 2x plus 1. And then we're going to multiply out y plus 2 squared. Again, that's y plus 2 times y plus 2. Y squared plus 4y plus 4 equals 9. So that's kind of the gist to that, but now I've got to organize it. So expanded form, you put the x squared term first, then you put the y squared term second, then you put the x term, then you put the y term, and then you put everything else. We're going to move the 9 over. So we have 1 and 4 is going to be 5, and then 5, and we're going to move the 9 over. So minus 9 is going to be negative 4 equal to 0. Expanded form is always set equal to 0. So that's how you go from standard form to expanded form. Okay. But now you might be asking, what if we have to go from expanded form back to standard form? And that is a little bit tricky. If you remember, we talked about completing the square. That's what we're going to do here. We just have to do it twice. So I'm going to rewrite this at the top of the board, and then we'll put this back into our standard form. Okay, so what we're going to do is we have to complete the square with the x's, and we got to complete the square for the y's. So I like to reorganize my information. So I put my x's together, my y's together, and then I shove everything else to the other side. So I've got my x squared and my negative 2x. I'm going to put parentheses around those. I've got my y squared and my 4y. Put parentheses around that. And then I'm going to move the 4 to the other side, just because we've got so much going on the left. And that's going to anyway be part of our radius. Okay, now I want to complete the square. So we need to add on into this parenthesis. Let's see, we have x squared minus 2x. We need to add negative 2 divided by 2 is going to be negative 1. Squared is going to be positive 1. So let's add a 1. Now in our second one, we have y squared plus 4y. Now to make that a perfect square, take 4 divided by 2, which is 2 squared is going to be 4. So we're going to add a 4 here. Now I got to balance. We added the 1 here on the left side. We're going to add 1 to the right side. And we added a 4 to the left side, and we're going to add a 4 as well. Okay, so now let's combine it all together. So completing the square, again, remember that it's the b value divided by 2. So it's going to be x minus 1 squared. And this is going to be y divided by 2 is 2 plus 2 squared. And then 4 plus 4 plus 1 is going to be 9, which is what we had originally. So that's putting it back from expanded form to our standard form. Expanded form doesn't really tell us much. The standard form is going to help us to graph because we can get our center and our radius. And that's the gist of circles.